Here it is.
It's a sinner.
Today's chapter.
What's today's chapter? It doesn't have it.
I know.
We salute the flag. I pledge
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you can afford it.
Two. Chaplain, would you say the opening prayer?
Dear Lord, as we start our monthly meeting, we ask that you help us in seeking a persistent quest for knowledge. May we strive to keep America free from ignorance, prejudice, oppression, and strife. Keep our officers ever mindful of the high purposes for which they are dedicated. May their actions reflect strength and wisdom. We ask that you grant us strength when we are weary, hope when we are discouraged, patience and perseverance when we face any obstacles. Amen.
Amen. You can sit, be seated. I would like to thank past commanders that are with us today. I see Bernie's here. Murray, were you a past commander? Department commander?
No.
No, not yet. Mike, were you a department commander?
No.
Not yet. Nelson, I know you were a department commander.
Yeah.
Mel, thank you. Lou, thank you. All right. Lee, would you like to introduce Joan?
Our speaker this morning is Joan Cisco. If you don't know Joan Cisco,
You should.
you're, shut up, I'm talking.
Use the microphone.
Put you in place.
Comment every second, just be quiet.
Michael.
I got the whole thing under
Microphone.
control, Michael. I got it under control, relax. Take it easy.
Use the mic.
Joan, if you don't know Joan,
Use the
it
mic.
means you're a very new veteran, like about 3 days in the service. Or you're very, very new in this organization, or you've not been connected with anything. But if you don't know her, honey, you haven't done anything. If you're an old veteran and you don't know her, you're not doing your job. Because Joan has been around for a good while and she's done so much, and we appreciate having her come, take her time to come today. She's one of the more active military members here in the Valley. She served as a Marine, Semper Fi, with a background in communication skills. She's devoting her time as head of the Women's Vet program, Veterans First, that she founded in 2002. She's been recognized for all her efforts by being awarded many vet groups, and she's been inducted into the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame. I'll mention a couple of other things she's done. I could spend the whole morning telling you all the things that she's been recognized for. She served on the Arizona Veterans Task Force for the governor. She's, serving now on the Veterans Mental Health Advisory Council presently. She serves as a consultant on women's veterans to veteran and community organizations and speaks on women's veterans issues across the state. We've been most blessed in having her here today, and she'll give you the information that you should know. And Joan, come on up, and thank you for coming. flyer. This is Joe's information.
First, I want to thank everybody, and Mel and Lee, especially for this opportunity to talk with you. Both Mel and Lee are very instrumental in supporting Veterans First and our women vets, and anytime we need anything, all we do is have to make a phone call. Lee's always on top of what we need. She, we have different events of Women Veteran Beauty Bash. We've done Easter baskets, we've done backpack events for our veteran children, and she's always there to help. The flyer that you have in front of you is our programs. And I can tell you that if it wasn't for groups like this and support that we receive from the community, we couldn't do what we do. We get no government money. And everybody knows the stipulations to government money. We have Mary Ellen's Place, it's affordable housing for single women vets, a very successful program. And our whole mission is preventing homelessness and stabilizing lives. And that starts, for our single women vets, that starts at Mary Ellen's Place. And I can say we probably have a 95% success rate. We opened Mary Ellen's in 2011. And many women have come in on the brink of homelessness. We've had 4 over the last year that came in that way that have moved out and are buying homes. And that's because of the support we get in the programs and are giving us the ability to be with these women and take care of their needs and guide them on their journey to recovery. We do take women from alcohol and drug abuse, substance abuse programs if they successfully have finished those programs. We have one gal right now that was hooked on heroin for 5 years, and she ended up in jail for 6 months. We got her into the VA for another 3 months for substance abuse program. Got her into Mary Ellen's, and she's got a job. She's going to St. Vincent de Paul Chef School. So she's doing really, really well. And that's just one of many. We've taken more out of the alcohol abuse than we have substance abuse. Our hand-up program that is huge. We pay rent, utilities, car payments for women that have come upon hard times. We have a strict intake that we do because we all know some people take advantage and like to take advantage and they organize HOP to get what they can. So we're very careful, but we've successfully kept a lot of women, both at Mary Ellen's and also out in the community, single and those with children, from being evicted and on the streets. And that's our focus. We work with different organizations for jobs. We're very blessed to have a network that if one of our women vets needs something, all we have to do is make a phone call to get them help. We work with a lot of great organizations, Honor House, the SEEDS program, which is domestic violence, because a lot of our women have been through domestic violence. We deal with post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injury, military sexual trauma, and we are dedicated and very proficient at helping them get on a journey back to healing. And we do whatever it takes to get them to that place of healing. We also require that they walk beside us, not behind us. We insist that we can't help you if you don't help yourself, and help us help you. And so these women stand side by side with us. The minute they back up, then we back up. And people say, why do you have affordable housing? Why don't you have a shelter? Shelters do not get people where they need to be. They have to pay rent. They come in, may pay their rent for a couple months, but we require that they get a job if they're capable. We have some women on disability, both from the VA and Social Security. benefits, but if they're capable of working, then that we insist that they work or go to school, and some of them have done both and come out the other side very successful. Not only it's not everybody's wish to buy a home, but we've had a lot come in that were gonna be homeless that stayed with us, and we had one gal that paid off $30,000 worth of debt and was able to move back to North Carolina. But they move on into the community, and we are very careful to make sure that they're ready to do that. Some of them think they're ready to do that before they are, and so we ask them to stay a little bit longer and have the supporting programs and services. So it's a journey that God put me on in 2002. I was on the Arizona Department of Veteran Services Commission, Advisory Commission, 1999, spent 2 terms on that. That kind of pushed my thoughts for starting a nonprofit, because government can't do everything and you don't want it to do everything. So that's how Veterans First was founded. We've had some education courses, Kumite course for humanities. We also help our male veterans, and we're getting into that a lot more than we ever anticipated, because a lot of organizations have a box that people may need to fit into, box of requirements. A lot of people don't fit into those boxes. We don't have a box of, you've got to be 5 things usually that you have to, the requirements, 4 or 5 things. So we don't have that box. About 3 weeks ago, we got wind of a male veteran that has 2 children, 2 boys, 7 and 10, had been sleeping in his car in a Walmart parking lot for 2 weeks. And so he had called, he said at least a dozen organizations, and nobody would help him. And I said, well, you found the right one, because we'll help you today. So one of my Marine Corps buddies from Old Breed, I called him, Jerry, and I said, Jerry, I need you to go to Avondale. I need you to take some gift cards and some supplies to a male veteran. He said, no, but I'll be right there. So we were able to give him gift cards to get food, send him to CRRC, gave him money, which we don't usually do, but he didn't have money for his kids to eat at school. So we gave him money to get through a couple weeks so his kids could get lunch at school. CRC helped him. Now he's going to be moving into an apartment with HUD badge. So a lot of those calls we get, a lot of calls we get from families. We get a lot of calls from folks that are suffering from TBI, PTSD. We'll be starting a couple programs this year that are going to be huge for our women vets. Big muster and mingle program, which is a gathering of women vets. We're going to have a lot of support groups off that. So look forward to 2018 to be able to do more than what we do today. Can't tell you we do everything perfect, but we sure learn a lot. If we make a mistake, we'll be the first to admit it. We figure out what we did wrong and how to fix it, because each individual is different. And sometimes, even as much as we've worked with veterans, it's hard not to put somebody in a category or a box. And that this is the way they should be, or we can get them this help. That's not always the way it works. So each person is an individual, and we look at them as an individual, as what they need, what their capabilities are, and then we go from there. And sometimes when we're in a hurry or when we're busy, but for most part, we're extremely successful in what we do. And again, because of the support we get from the community is why we can do what we do. And we try to do it to the best of our ability with our network and people like you that support us. So I thank you again for having me, being able to talk. You have supported us as different chapters from different chapters of Jewish War Veterans have supported us, and we appreciate that and know that your money has helped and these women and now our male veterans. We help a lot of senior veterans. We're very blessed to be able to do that too. So man, they fall through the cracks. The spouses of our women, our male veterans, fall through the cracks. So we've helped them through this last year. And that's a huge gap in taking care of, because nobody takes care of the widows or widowers of our military. And so it makes it really tough.
I have a couple of questions for you, Joe.
Sure.
Number one, Manor House and Victory Place get money from not only United Way, but they also get money from, I guess, what is the
Per diem,
huh?
the per diem program, VA per diem.
No, they get them from what is it, Michael? Who's the other
Catholic
group?
Charities got
Huh? Catholic Charities. Have you ever applied for any of that stuff?
We apply for grants. I think I'm very cautious, Mel, on what their stipulations are. Because a lot of times you can't do what you need to do. And you end up, and this is why we don't like to get government money in, is because you end up spending so much time on fulfilling the requirements of that grant that you can't do your programs. Or you have to hire somebody to just do that, and it's very expensive. We have a lot of corporations that support us. We're very blessed. But Manor House was taken over by Catholic Charities,
Yeah.
and so they're moving forward with that.
They also get money from United Way as well. So.
Yeah. And we're engaging in more and more of that. I can tell you it stayed under the radar for many years because I want to make sure we had successful programs. It was advertised that Mary Ellen's was a shelter. We still fight that. We never said it was a shelter. It's been affordable housing since day one. In the veteran community, said it was a shelter. We fought that. We still fight that every once in a while. And we're going to look at, one of the things we're going to look at this year is transitional housing for women vets. There is none. And instead of doing a shelter, the transitional housing, and that's where you do need government money for per diem and things, because it's tough to support that and support our other programs. But with God's right here on my shoulder, has been on my shoulder, He got me into this journey and continues to help me put one foot in front of the other every day and do what we do. And if it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be standing before you today saying, this is what we do. And so we're blessed and thank God every day for what He has put before us. He opens doors and He closes doors. I can't tell you I don't get frustrated sometimes when He closes doors, but it only takes me about a week to understand why that door is closed. It was in the best interest of what we're doing. So again, thank you all.
Jim, I have a question. Does Mary Ellen House have children?
No, it's 14 studio apartments. Not enough room for kids. That's something that we're looking at.
Give it to Mike
And see what we can do about that. But right now we take care of them in where they live in different apartments. But it is helpful to get everybody in one spot because then you can watch
get out of the way.
if kids are okay and different things. And, so we do that
You want to
where they
tell?
live in the community.
You want to tell them who Mary Ellen was and all?
Mary Ellen, I met Mary Ellen in 2000. She became a member of the Arizona Department of Veteran Services Advisory Commission.
She was American Legion.
Mary Ellen was a member of American Legion and the auxiliary for 45 years. Just amazing woman.
And
She was the first state woman state commander across the nation. Just a blessing to know, dedicated to our veterans beyond belief. We lost her in 2006 due to cancer. A great loss for this veteran community. And as soon as in 2000, it goes to the end of 2009, when I was introduced to the property that's now Mary Ellen's place. And I asked the ownership, I said, can I rename it? And I said, I want to name it after Mary Ellen. And so they said, sure, and that's why its name's Mary Ellen's place. And I can tell you, she watches over us daily and takes care of us and walks those halls, and she kicks me in the butt every once in a while. And so, but yeah, she was a great woman.
I've had the pleasure of working with Joan, especially at Mary Ellen's place, and it's very nice to see that we have a place for the women veterans and support them in her program, because she also does so much else that I don't see, and I don't know what she's doing, but she's doing something out there, because things are happening, and especially not just with the women, but the children of these women veterans. She's done a lot to help that too. It's a big part of the program, which a lot of people don't think about. The families of the men that are veterans, and she's able to help them out too, and we appreciate that. I want to thank you for that.
We had a great Christmas party where the Elks got a hold of us on Elks on 32nd Street, which they do a Christmas program for kids every year. Each Elks Lodge does, and so they called and said, Joni, we need 40 veteran kids. I said, well, we can do that. So we got them all together, and they got $125, each one of them $125 gift card to Penny's for shoes and clothes. And then Penny's gave a 30% discount, didn't charge any taxes, so it was probably $160, $170 by the time it was done. Then after that wonderful shopping spree, we had a ball. Kids had a ball. Took them back to the lodge on 32nd Street, and they had dinner, and then they got $50 worth of toys, because on a sheet they could say what they wanted for toys. So it was an amazing time and we delivered a lot of food, and probably a total of 70 children that we helped and families for Christmas. And then we were able to give food boxes at the Elks. Every year we're involved with them on Thanksgiving, so they delivered 55 food boxes to us, and it filled Mary Ellen's lobby, and we got a hold of families that would not have been able to have Thanksgiving and gave those boxes out. So it's a lot of collaboration, and everybody has a part in helping our veterans, and I tell you, we got some great, wonderful people.
Joan, if we need to reach you, your number is on the bottom of this page.
Yes, it is.
We can call you there.
Yep.
Keep in touch if there's any information you need to know or need our help.
Any questions? And if you have questions later or want to know something, I'm an open book. Just call me. Happy to tell you anything and answer any questions that you may have. And again, thank you for this opportunity. Thanks for your support. And truly, we couldn't do what we do without the support we get from community members and community groups.
Joe, thank you so much for being here. Like I said, if you don't know her, you're not doing enough.
You know me now.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much. And I double booked, so I have another speaking engagement I have to go here to pretty soon that I didn't put on my calendar. So thank you again. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Nice seeing you. We'll talk soon.
I'll give you a call and let you know when.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
All right, carrying on with, can everyone hear me now? Yes. Carrying on with the meeting, I would like to have the quartermaster's report.
As of today, we have $21,998.97 in our treasury. I have a request, which we do every year, for the Memorial Day Cemetery. They're asking for a donation, and we usually give $100. I would move that we approve $100 for the Memorial Day ceremony.
Is there a second for the motion to donate $100?
I second.
All right, Bernie Kaplan seconded the motion. All in favor of the department donating $100?
I'll take 1,000.
Say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, the motion is passed.
I'll write a check.
Mel will write the check.
Okay.
Thank you. There's no one here from post 619. The adjutant, Harriet Post, was post 619, so we do not have an adjutant. So there will be no adjutant's report. Is there any other old business people would like to bring up before we do the post reports? Yes.
I'll wait till post reports.
All right. Let's start with 201. Murray, do you have a post report?
Yeah, we have been pretty busy as much as, even though our number of people are going down. First of all, let me make mention of the fact about Marty Harrell. Come on. Can everybody hear me okay?
Absolutely.
I don't need a mic. I've got a pretty good voice. First of all, one little report that Marty Harrell, a past commander, was in an automobile accident about 3 weeks ago. And he is still in ICU at Banner University Medical Center in Tucson. He had some serious problems. What of the information that we were able to get was that he had some cracked ribs, a punctured lunge, and a broken back. And they did surgery on his back, but if they didn't, and after he got out of there, if he had fallen, he would have been paralyzed for life. My last report that I've been able to get was he's still in ICU. His mailbox on his phone is full, and his son has refused to give out any medical information to anybody. So we don't know what his status is right now. So for our post, it's really been, it's a loss right now. He's not only as our adjutant, our judge advocate, but he's also really supportive for our post and the Korean War veterans as well in Tucson. And so far as some of the stuff that we have been doing, we have donated money to the VA Volunteer Services for the sleep kits for the patients, and that goes over very big. The mask and some other stuff that's in the kit, and each kit is marked donated by Jewish war veterans. We have them. We also gave a couple $200 to support youth volunteers for this coming year. For 5, that's like $40 a head on that. We have been involved with the Tucson Veteran Affairs Committee, and we volunteered at the VA hospital itself. I personally have over 1,300 hours with the VA as a volunteer on my own time. Plus, I've also volunteered at the clinic pharmacy on base at day end. But we also have, we also work supporting the 4 chaplain service, Project Exodus. As a matter of fact, at the next 4 chaplain service, I'll be the Jewish chaplain for it, as I have for the past couple of years. Right now, the other problem we are having with our post, and as I want to bring this up, is that some of our older people are dropping off or resigning from activities. We had a breakfast committee couple. This last meeting was their last one. They said because of their age, they will help support us wherever they can, but they had to drop off on that. And our meetings are going forth, and I'd like to get some inputs on maybe what we can do to try and keep this post alive. I hate to see this one go, but it's getting pretty bad right now. There's only about 4 or 5 of us that are really doing anything. We have our life mate, patron, Joel Stoltz, the son of Saul Stoltz, who has been very active with us, and he's also our bingo chair. And we do bingo the second Tuesday of each month at the VA hospital. We get anywhere from 10 to 13 patients, and we've given out as much as $60 at a shot. This last time we gave out 48 for bingo winners, and they really appreciate it. if we're not there, and there were a lot of, some of the patients, when I'm volunteering at the concierge desk in Building 60, because that's where they have it. Hey, are we gonna have bingo tonight? Second Tuesday, are we gonna have bingo tonight? And it goes over very, very well. And so that's about where we stand right now.
Thank you very much. I would also like to inform the membership here that the Tucson Veterans Home is a 5-star facility rated by the United States government. So it's an excellent, excellent facility. Thank you for all your help down there. C-194, Mike, would you like to give a report?
I don't have too much to say about it. We're just doing the poppy drive, you know, like we normally do. And Lee's doing quite a bit like she always does. She might probably want to say something, but she's probably outside there still talking with Joan, I think so. But that's pretty much, you know, what we're doing. You know, we're just doing what we can, you know.
I would like to add that I attended your last meeting. I was very pleased to see your attendance was much higher than I anticipated. There was really good attendance at your last meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Nelson?
Number one, there's one thing I want to talk about, and that is basically to each commander here. I've been holding down the website for a number of years, and I just can't seem to get the editors of the newsletters to do what I want them to do. And I want them to do a very simple thing. It saves me anywhere between a half hour and an hour to fiddle around with their PDC file. They put it any old way they want it, and I keep telling them, your file name is very simple. 3 letters for the month. January, J-A-N. Capital J, small a-n. Your post number, let's say 194. I'm not using that right now because I put it on for 194. Number 3 is the word after your post, 3 numbers, because they're all 3 numbers here. The word newsletter. And then the year, 2017, PDF. You do it that way, I have you on there in 2 minutes. And as soon as I see it in my Gmail, I put it on. Because I like to get everything on and up to date. Unfortunately, December was bad for me, and part of January was bad for me because of personal family relations. I had to go out of state, and I had 3 people from Israel come in to visit with me. So it was hectic. I will have it by the next week. I have all the current newsletters that they're publishing. 619 is sort of wishy-washy, and sometimes I'll get something from them and sometimes I won't. The other thing is, I'll put anything on that you want, but I have to have your commander do it to me, because that means authorization. And I don't want somebody in a post to write a letter to me. Please put on that my son Jimmy is having a bar mitzvah. That's what it's not there for, and I don't want that. If you have a bereavement that a post member has passed on, I don't care who sends the notice into me. And I try to get that up under the news heading, which that's where you'll find the obituaries. And any news that National comes out with that I think you should really know, because I know we all don't look at that JWV National website or their newsletter. Or it's a newspaper, it's bigger than mine.
Not much.
On the newsletters, I don't know exactly who got what awards because they broke it down this year into annual and annual meant you did it every month at least 10 times. Then there is subdivisions. Well, for the second time that I turn it in, because I don't turn it in every year, because I know what's going to happen and it gets boring that way. On 6 years that I've done this, I've sent it in twice, and each time they have given me the top award. I'm just bringing that up to you, that on your newsletters, send at the end, before their national convention, if your commander isn't going to go to the national convention, which very few commanders do go, because to go to the East Coast is very costly.
This summer it's in Florida.
Anyways, turn in your newsletter. You have to turn in 12 newsletters. So you can go back into the previous year or what, and put it in any kind of binding facility that you can get a hold of that is 79 cents or better, and send it to national headquarters a good month before the convention. Now, unless you send them an envelope for return, you're not going to get it returned. I'm telling you that ahead of time. Unless one of your members goes, or the department commander goes, and he takes care of it and brings it back. So send it in at least. You may, look, I can't guarantee you're going to win a prize. There is no prize. They give a certificate out to you that you won such and such. But it's good to have for your post. And before that, Lou Kelcher was the newsletter editor way before, and he sent one in and got it. So if you don't send it in, you're not going to get it. And I think we need more publicity international for our posts.
For our department.
Pardon?
For our department. For the post.
Yeah, well, all the posts, I said posts, plural. That means the entire department, everybody in here has to do something. You flood them, they'll put them in. You don't send, if you send one here, there, and now and never, they're not going to put it in. I can guarantee you that. If you notice on your obituaries, it's held to get an obituary in there.
Especially at the beginning.
Nelson, have you been getting our newsletter from our post 201?
Yes.
You have been getting it, okay.
Yeah, if you go on, you have a computer? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. When you get back home, JWVSW.org, and go and look on the index. There's a table of contents in there, and see the ones that says newsletter post 201, and click on it, and it'll take you there. And you are on there. 201 is on, 210 is on, and 194 for the month of January. They're all on. 619, forget. 375, I got one a year and a half ago. So if they send them in, I put them on as soon as I can.
Can I make a suggestion?
What?
I know, I understand and I hear your angst about the file names, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Would it be, I don't know if this would be helpful, would it be worth it for you to, at the beginning of the month, send an email to whoever puts together the newsletter for that post?
Put it this way.
And say, respond, and you put in the subject what you want, and then say, respond and attach it to this email.
Well,
and you'll have it attached to the email.
I have sent out emails
Okay, I just didn't know if that might
to
be.
2 people, and I'm mentioning their names because if you go in and look at it, you'll find their name on the newsletter. Stephen Troy and Shapiro. I can't remember.
Seymour Shapiro?
Stephen Shapiro.
From Bus 201, right?
Yeah. And every so often they do send it right. Most of the time they send it wrong. And I'm telling you, it takes me time to download their thing, change the name, hopefully without doing any damage to their program, and putting it back up on our website, which is GoDaddy, is the website provider. And they get a good reputation, but I'll tell you something, they all leave to be desired. Yeah.
Point of information, the awards are annual, semi-annual, and then quarterly.
Yeah.
But also there is one for the website itself.
Well, we put that in, but I hadn't heard anything about it, although somebody said we got it, but I never got anything.
Last year in 17.
217, yeah.
No, last year in 17,
Yeah.
Texas got it because they hosted the
Well,
convention.
You got John.
I couldn't help it. I mean,
You got John London,
I know.
who is a great guy.
Yeah,
I mean, he knows his stuff,
right.
and that's why he has a crew. So I'm the only one doing this for our website. He got a bunch of people working on it.
Absolutely.
Nelson, my only question for you is it, as an example, JAN 210 newsletter dot PDF?
No, 2018.
20.
The year, because I keep a record of all this.
It'll automatically send it as a PDF.
What does it cost you a year to run this thing now, Nelson?
Total cost is under $100.
You want to send us a bill and we'll take care of it?
I'm current. We're paid up currently.
Well, you pay up till
Yeah,
June. You pay up
and
till June.
I've gotten reimbursed for the money, so there's no
I know.
problem. The thing is, everything goes up. Everybody's prices go up.
Joel?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I wrote down what I think is a contradictory statement, and I just need clarification. You had first mentioned that you only want the correspondence to come from the newsletter editor, and then you said you won't accept anything unless it comes directly from the commander.
Yes,
What
okay.
if those are two
Okay,
separate
here's the
people?
thing. The newsletter has to come from the editor,
Okay,
because that person has control over it.
fine.
All the other stuff is, what I don't want is individuals sending things in, and basically it floods the whole system,
Right. What
and
if,
it's not necessary.
but what if the post were to designate the newsletter editor as your contact person?
That's fine with me.
Okay.
If the newsletter editor sends me in something, and what I don't like, because it puts some stress on me.
You would like just one contact person per post?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm talking about, I get even from the command, I get a newsletter, not a newsletter, I'm sorry, a blurb, a blog, or whatever you want to call it, with a statement, we're doing this or we're doing that in the post. Everybody sends me everything, but I will not put anything on such an email unless the person tells me we need to put this on the website, because I don't know if that person has permission to do what they're doing, number one. And secondly, I'm not calling for their accuracy or anything. I do not, if you send me an email and it's, let's say, an obituary, I don't even go in correct spelling. I put on what you send me, so there is no mistakes. If there's a mistake, it's what you send me, and that's it, and that's not my fault. And I don't want to be blamed for, guy calls me up and says, hey, you know, you had my obituary in there and I'm still alive. I don't need that. So that's why I'll accept it from the editor, or the commander, but I don't want to accept blurbs, I call them, from anybody who's just a member. I'm not denying that person's the right to put something on, but I have to have some authentication on it. because I don't know everybody, although I do have all the names of the entire department, because I get a hold of them. But I'd be glad to put anything on that is reasonable, that pertains to Jewish war veterans, veterans in general, Jews in general, or Israel. Now, if you go on and read my newsletter, it's strictly VA has some posts, Israel, the military. And that's what I put it to. And it's all down there, and I don't go out to write all this up. It's what you read there is what somebody has published.
All right, Nelson, thank you. Rochelle, would you like to give a report for 210?
We started off after the holidays, or during the holidays, really with a sukkah party, which we opened up for the department. And it was nicely attended. We had it in our sukkah, which held everybody very nice. We did have representation from 3 posts, and Mort Husky came up with his family, so that was very nice. With Veterans Day weekend, we had people get out poppying. We had less people getting out poppying for various reasons, but we still were able to almost reach our goals. We did also schedule Lee Katz, who came out to Torah Day School to speak to 4 groups, which started off as 1, but ended up being 4 groups of children over a good half of the day in the school, and they loved it. So we, obviously want to thank Lee for that. Pearl Harbor Day Remembrance, the post, the wreath for the department was brought by Michael, and then we also, for the post we did, we put a wreath. As it happened, my daughter asked to come, and so I got permission from her school so that she could come to it, and they loved it there so much that they asked her to be the one to release the doves at the end of the whole program. And they announced her name and her school and everything else in the program itself, which was very nice. Our Hanukkah party, because Hanukkah came out at the same time of our post meeting, the post meeting came out during the same time as Hanukkah, then we also made it into a Hanukkah party. We had 2 very good guest speakers, and then we've also had the Torah Day School Kids Choir. And so they came and they sang 4 or 5 songs. They did a whole dance as far as something that they were working on. It was recorded. We had an overflow crowd out the door. We had a good probably 60 people here, and it was really nice. We had a nice turnout from some of our membership who we haven't had, and then also some of the kids' parents and families. They came, so it turned out to be as they say, an overflowing crowd in here. We had an attempt at something which I'm only mentioning it from the standpoint is that while it was a fail, it was a possible very big plus. We were set up to and had emails and everything else going back to do color guard for the Phoenix Suns game when they had Jewish Heritage Night. And it was good because I had my phone there, therefore I was showing them all of the emails. They flubbed on it. They forgot about it and forgot to set it up. We were there. We looked good. We looked very good, but we weren't able to do it. But they want to make it up to us, they said. So we're in contact with them as far as a possible way how we could get some other publicity or something else going on at one of the games. So again, while it turned out to be a fail, it turned out that we might be able to have some positive publicity from it as well. One thing I did want to mention which is about vet ticks. If you aren't signed up for vet ticks is where people donate tickets for sporting events, concerts, different things like that for veterans. And what you can do is you can apply for some of those tickets. It's a little bit of a process. I'm simplifying it. You can apply for some of that, and then a lot of times, chances are is that you'll be able to get tickets for different things. For our post, what we did is for this Phoenix Suns game is that it did come up is that they had tickets available on VetTix for this event, and so the people who were going to the game for the color guard, we were able to get our tickets for free through the VetTix, or just about free. So I wanted to mention it from the standpoint of this, but also from a standpoint as far as to spread it around and let people know about it, because this is something, and sometimes there's symphony tickets, and sometimes there's other. We just went to the Italian Circus a couple of weeks ago, and so it's actually really something which can be for everybody as well. There's one other thing I wanted to bring up, and it's some of what you were talking about, and that is publicity. Publicity. The Sukkot party for the department, the Pearl Harbor Day Remembrance, the Hanukkah party. Stephen Troy does an amazing job, and I asked him, he sends out anything that we do, he floods it, just like you were talking about. He floods the organizations. We are in this edition of the Jewish Life. We've been in it 3 or 4 times. The Jewish News. They keep throwing any pictures that we send them. For the most part nowadays, they are sending it. Leah's holding up the Sukkah party, and the article that Stephen wrote up made it into this Jewish veteran for the National. Any publicity that we can get is something which is any addition, good addition to to what we're doing. So I agree with you. Flood it. If they put it in, great. If they don't, it's not. It's getting Jewish war veterans. It's getting the name out. Getting out so that we can have some positive publicity and be able to affect some things with it. So I would say that's it at this point.
Thank you. I said 619 is not here. Yes, Nelson.
I want to add something to that. On the VATEX, because I've had it since they started. The tickets basically are free, but there is I don't know exactly what's today, but there was an $11 charge to you for the.
There's a lot of times there's a service fee, but it depends on the event. And sometimes, like when we had for the Phoenix Suns game, we got 4 tickets, row 5. These were $150 tickets, and we got 4 of them, and all I had to pay was $14.
Oh, you get good tickets. Sometimes you get bad tickets.
So but you're right that there's sometimes a service fee, but it's cheap. And there is a service fee each time, and you can make a donation past that if you want.
It ranges from $1.50 to $11, Nelson.
Yeah, so it just depends on the event, and then you can decide whether you want to or not. But that's basically, it's again, it's a significant discount for if you want to go to things.
But you got to be a member.
You got to be a member. They do ask for your DD-214. They want to guarantee that you are a veteran, and they have rules that you've got to stick to with it. But as I say, for free or almost close to free tickets for a lot of these different kinds of events. We haven't gone to, my family we haven't gone to, not because we don't go to a lot of sporting games. But as I say, I was able to take my kids to this at the Zoppi Italian Circus, and it was stunning, and my kids had such a wonderful time. Really, really beautiful time.
Thank you, Rochelle. Moving on, is there any other old business? I'd like to move on to new business because we have 2 good points. Rochelle, if you could do me the honor of discussing, this is a recruiting tool, but Post 4. If you have not heard about what is Post 4, Rochelle will hopefully explain it.
Post 4 is still very much in formation. It's a national post. It was incorporated on November 1st of this past year. It is the first step in trying to address and attract the 55 and younger crowd, and although now they're saying 50, and I said, well, I'm almost there, so we'll say 55. So they're what they meant, and it's in this edition of the Jewish Veteran, which some people read page to page. Anyways, and what they're trying is, so they said we've tried for over 10 years to incorporate the younger members within the organization with little success. So now what they're trying to do is incorporate as far as a post 4, and right now it's on the East Coast. And what they're saying is that they want that if there's an area where there's at least 10 people, so then you can have a post 4 gatherings with these kind of people. I've gotten involved a little bit more with this, and there's another conference call that's going to be before the NEC. And to a certain extent, it still needs work. And what I had suggested and was proposing is that you don't have a post 4 that then can have little things go on all over the country, but you have it, and call it a JAW post. JAW was originally what they were talking about for Jewish American warriors. So the 55 and younger crowd, a JAW post in different, attach them to different departments and have one like per department, so that that anyone from any post can have someone. And they can say, hey, you're 55 and younger, this might be something where you're interested. There's some kvetching on both sides, and so that's why I say this is still a work in progress. Some of the JAW people are kvetchy and saying that the rest of JWV is territorial, and but on the other side of it, some of the JAW folks want to incorporate and do stuff which is outside of what JWV has traditionally been. So I'm hopeful that post 4 or a JAW post is going to be something which would complement, and even though it may be separate, a separate post in a department, that it can complement and work together with the traditional posts. They are suggesting in the newsletter is that someone who's a member of post 4 have a dual membership in the, what do they call it, the traditional geographic post. So then comes down to money, as far as saying, well, okay, if you're telling someone that to be a member of the JAW post or this post 4, you have to pay extra money so that you can be dual membership. And if so, why should someone pay extra? So this is still in the works, and I'll try and update you as far as what I hear. I think, as I say, it's important to partner and complement, not to say we want to be a separate thing. Some of the thought processes and a couple of the people in the JAW in this post 4 are having different ideas on the membership credentials as far as who to have in, and not necessarily have it be only veteran based. And I don't think that's what we want.
Now let me add into this. This was supposed to be for the Desert Storm, the Afghan warriors, much more computer savvy than I am. It's important that you have a smartphone that you can communicate. They don't want to physically meet. They want to communicate with other Jewish veterans.
No, that's not actually, that's some of which that you're true on a certain extent. But this group has been forming in together on sort of a separate kind of basis since 2015. And now they're wanting to, but they're also saying, as far as anyone, what their thoughts are, what they would like to see is that anyone who has taken an oath, so public safety officers, et cetera, also be incorporated. And so that's where I think that there's some.
All right, let me get Mel first.
Yeah, I was on a committee about 10, 11 years ago at National to explore doing something very similar to this. The 3 main objections were, number 1, it would dilute the posts. We're looking for young people to step into the post, so if this goes into effect, they're not gonna hold dual membership, we know that right now, because it's dual expenses, they're gonna be competing against the post. And what's gonna end up happening is the posts are gonna die out, because as Murray's finding out now, and we're finding out, you have nobody to step up in the leadership, and we were counting on these young people to step in and keep this leadership alive. And at that as I said, 10 years ago, this was discussed really, really deeply, because some of the people from Desert Storm didn't want to react. At the other end of the coin is, as long as you have the leadership at national the way it is, this will never succeed, because they're only going to take 88 or 85-year-old people for national commanders. And
Not anymore.
or that's not anymore. Wait till the next guy comes up.
Oh, yeah.
Wait till the next one comes up. Wait till you see who they got for the next one. Anyway,
Norman is really changing it at national. My hat's off to him. Yes, Nelson.
I've been in this organization since, not this particular, in Jewish War Veterans, since 1964. It's a long time. I got the pins to prove it. The biggest problem that Jewish war veterans had in the past and still has is basically, number one, we don't know who the Jewish veterans are, period. The government won't give you out any information. Number two, I've been told on several occasions of people who went to their synagogue, and in the synagogue on they were celebrating Memorial Day or Veterans Day, and in other words, when veterans were involved, and they wanted everybody in the church, in the synagogue, please stand so we could thank you. They stood up like crazy in places. I'm not saying to half the congregation. I'm saying enough. That if you knew every Jew in every congregation who's a veteran, you got Jewish war veterans you can get a hold of. But until you're able to find that out, it's one-on-one. How did I get into this organization?
somebody asked.
What?
Somebody asked.
Yeah. The guy happened to have been the 6th region commander when they had regional commanders.
Oh, God.
Real Altacocker. Anyways, he said, Nelson, you're Jewish. And I said, Henry, you know I'm Jewish. What's new? He says, Nelson, you're a war veteran. Yes, Henry, I told you I was a war veteran. And then he says, Nelson, you work for me, don't you? And he says, you're going down. And that first day that I went down with him to Post 603 in Studio City, California, he had me shaking hands with every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the place. And by the time I walked out of there, and the next month, I was 3rd Vice Commander. So that's how you get people in. You drag them in. You know, one-on-one. And that's basically how it is. And I've never been out of office since. I've been always in an office.
But he eats our heart out while he's in, so don't get too excited.
I have a suggestion, and some of this, people need to bring it up to national, and this is what it is. You know, we have got a lot of public, got a lot of physicians, dentists, and so forth, assigned to public service that work on reservations and so forth like that. They are commissioned officers insofar as that they're in uniform. But they were not on active duty. They were not. And I had spoken with National about that. They said, they could become patrons. But the problem what we're having with that, and this is something that needs to be changed, is that they could be full-fledged members and voting members and actually hold offices and so forth. If we can get, and I'm not talking just us, I'm talking about across the spectrum, that maybe we can get some of them into the posts as active voting members, being able to hold office and so forth. That there's a lot of them out
As
there.
patrons? You mean as patrons?
No,
No.
right now the national says they
Someone
can
that's
be
been in the
patrons.
reserves.
But I say
Fixed it so they can be regular.
they can be regular members.
Someone's a
The
member.
policy has changed. If you served active duty, how many days, a ridiculous number of days, I'm saying 1 day. But if you served active duty as a reservist, even 1 day, you were qualified as a regular member, not as a patron.
But these are public,
Public health?
Public health.
Public health.
Public,
Is that?
That hasn't changed.
That's not-
Public health officials.
but they're officers.
Yes,
So what? But
yes, Rochelle.
I have a point which is a little bit of, which may be a little sticking point, so I'm going to try and figure out in my brain right now at this moment how to maybe say it delicately, is that we can know where people are at, because we've discussed this at board meetings. We can know where people are at, but if your post isn't providing something that these people want or want to come to or want to do, they're not going to join, whether it half of the congregation or not. So you've got to, not to say you, we've got to say, what are we providing that is going to make it relevant? I hear exactly what Mel is saying as far as the fear, as far as diluting the post, but right now, the 55 and younger crowd, what's bringing them in? They're not seeing well, not just the 55 and younger crowd, but JWV has to really think about, other than having a nice place for everybody to come and have coffee and to raise money for some very important charitable funds, what are we providing as far as why someone wants to come? There was someone, I was at a convention last year, I'll be really quick. There was someone I was at a convention last year, and she said that they wanted to find out in their area, why do people come to events? And they did a whole study, and they came up with two things. One, either someone is going to come to an event because they have an emotional tie with them, to the point of that they have to be there because their family, this kind of outlook. Or your event is something that they don't want to miss, that they want to be seen at, that they want to be a part of. So we've got to look at our activities and our events and say, what is it that someone doesn't want to miss by being part of it? It's a little bit of, chutzpah by saying, hey, you're not coming to our event. Well, why not? You're going to miss it. So we've got to have some sort of, to foster something which is going to have a desire to incorporate a desire for someone to actually want to get involved. And so you've got to figure out how to do that.
Karen?
A lot of the problems of war veterans, Jewish war veterans, is a lot of their issues revolve around isolation. It's hard enough to be a war veteran and then to be a Jewish war veteran. Are you kidding? So I listened to Nelson. What if somebody, or all of us, went to the synagogues closest to us and said, this is what we need. Can you put a blurb in your weekly bulletin? People take that and they take it home and they read it. A little something. You are not alone. Please join us. You have family here. Whatever, to make them feel more welcome. Reach out to the synagogues. I'm sure they would cooperate. I don't know if you have experience with this, but wouldn't that make sense?
Thank you. No, Mel's gonna have the last word on this,
Yeah,
and
because I
then
have to
Jerry
leave.
has
I
a
have
point
to,
to
I have to leave right anyway. First of all, let me go back a little bit. Bernie and I went to synagogue, asked how many people, I gave a speech on the history of the Jewish war veterans. We presented the colors. About 70 men stood up. Right, Bernie? We only got one person. We handed out applications that night. We got one person, which happened to be Max, who joined our post that evening. The problem, you were talking about getting new members. You can't even keep the members we have. We have 80 members in our post. How many do we get to a meeting? If we're lucky, we get 10 or 12.
Yeah.
And you're all forgetting. Way back when I became the commander of this department, where we put the Department of Southwest together, I said this department will fade in 2020, by 2020. Because of the age, you have an age problem. The average age of this department is 87 years old. That's the average age. We have people that are 90, we have people as young as Nelson over here who just turned 80. But the problem is you get people that are sick, you get people that move and everything else. Now, I made plans years ago for when this thing goes down, and it will go down. National is faced with the same thing, but we're not the only organization. The American Legion, when I came to this state, by the way, I started in 1953, Nelson. My cousin Harold Don, who you knew very well, signed up every one of the cousins that were in the armed forces, and that's how I got into the Jewish war veterans. But anyway, they're all faced. The Korean War veterans are faced with this, and they limit themselves to Korean War veterans. The American Legion, when I moved here in 1999, they had over 61,000 members for the state of Arizona. Right now, they're down to 23,000. And you go, and I belong to Post 44 over here, and they have 1,600 members in a post. How many people do you think show up at a meeting?
Less than a million.
Five people. The officers show up, and the only reason that post still exists is because they have a bar and they have dinners over there. And this is not a novel thing. This is something that is happening because the younger people do not want to get involved as we do. They don't have the time, number one. They spend a lot of time with their children, which most of us didn't. We used to go out on the weekends over there and raise money. Even when I was with B'nai B'rith and everything else, we don't do that anymore. We can't get the people to go out. We're lucky to get 8 people to go out to raise money. One time we had 18 people going out. And you have the same problem, and every post has the same problem. And National has a worse problem than we do.
But every organization today, the Moose, the Elks, the everything else, they are all shrinking down.
That's right.
A lot of those places have big
people do
buildings
not
that they
wanna
built
join.
because they have so many members.
People do not
And now
wanna
they're down
come
to
in.
the nubbins. And I've approached this individual that he says to me, what are we doing? We're not doing enough for our veterans. I said, well, join us. Come to our meetings and be a member. And then I call him to remind him when the meeting is. Do I see him? He's nowhere. He doesn't want to do anything. He wants us
He
or
wants somebody else
up
to
in
do
the
it.
air to make the magic happen. He doesn't want to do anything.
They want the
And
magic
the
to
kids
happen.
don't want to do anything. They're too busy doing this. If we can't do this, they don't want to do anything.
Thank you.
They got a thing in their hand, that's it.
Jerry, you said you had a point you wanted to bring up?
May I?
The floor is yours.
Simon says.
Here goes the rest of the time.
I heard the word problem many times. I'm a member of Post 194, and we have no problems. We only have certain issues. And Mike, my commander, spoke about the things we do. We try to do something every month. For instance, January, we attend a department meeting. In February, Lou Kelter could tell you, we used to do a Super Bowl party, right? We provided the goodies. In the hospital, we go to the hospital and have a party for the veterans. So every month in April, March, we have Passover, Pesach, and we would give out matzah to Jewish people that couldn't afford it, matzah, etc., potatoes and chickens and whatnot. So every month we tried to do something. That gave us a little publicity, which I heard people mention many times, publicity. So one of the things we stressed is that whoever heard of Willie Sutton? Willie Sutton?
Sure.
Sure, you heard of Willie Sutton. They asked him why he robbed banks. What did he say?
Where the money is.
That's where the money is. So it's no secret. Why don't we need new members? Or do we have to go? You gotta go to the shul, to the synagogue. So let me just, again, what my post has been doing and doing. There's a certain Pasha. You know what a Pasha is? Certain
Verse, a parsha is a verse of the Torah.
Parsha, yeah, it's a section of Sedra in the Torah. So we, my post, we did a kiddush at the time when Avram Avinu, when he went to rescue his nephew Lot. He formed an army, so he was the first general. There's lots of firsts in Torah. Avram was the first lawyer. He was begging Hashem not to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Anyway, that's a little. So we tried to do everything at least something at least once a month in the synagogue. We went to Beth Israel, Jacob, and so forth, Chabad. The last thing our members did, we sponsored a kiddush on Shabbos, and it was well attended, but the point was that we wanted to get new members. And so the rabbi asked everyone to stand up. That was a veteran, men and women. People stood up. We had no application to give them. We did attract a few people, but so we need to do more and more of that. I just want to mention an aside. The Suns, they give a lot of free tickets away. And at the end of the season, they have a drawing of $25,000. The organizations that get the tickets has to have a 90% average of tickets being redeemed and people coming to the games. So there's a 25,000 drawing. Maybe we don't, any of the posts are not eligible this year, but maybe next year. Anyway, so I think, Nelson, didn't you appoint me once as publicity or something like that? Somebody made me publicity chair.
I think it was you.
Wasn't me. I got enough publicity.
Lou, was it you?
No, it was
Lou,
you.
you. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna, in conclusion, I'm not here to stir things up, but I'm here on behalf of the Jewish war veterans. And as publicity chairman, if I am, if I'm not, I have an idea, and it may be out of order. I want some comments. Bottom line, get to it. Okay, I talk to myself, excuse me. Sheriff Joe is running for senator.
No.
Everybody know that? Everybody know that? Hello, I don't see anybody talking back to me.
We know
Because you haven't
Joe is
said
running for
anything.
senator.
Okay, listen now.
The answer
You
is
say no, no. If you say maybe, or shall it, whatever you want to do. I think that, let me just one more thing. The department is not just for meetings. The department does things. We have a poster series from the Simon Wiesenthal Center, and that's another thing we do in July. We give the poster series to the Phoenix Holocaust Survivors Association. We let it out. We do more than we have. What's the other thing? We give the awards to the junior.
Yeah.
Come on.
ROC, junior ROTC.
JWVSW. We give awards. The Jewish War Veterans is the oldest veteran service association in the world. We are the oldest, because they get up and they say American Legion, the Korean, this, but we're the oldest. And post 194 is the oldest in Phoenix. Thank you. I need help. So anyway, I think the department should sponsor a debate between Joe and whoever's running against him in the primary. Now, you're going to say it's political?
It is political.
It is political.
Well, let me finish, okay? No, you can talk. It is political?
Yes.
Who says? Look,
Mel,
hold on, Mel is 1953, I'm in the JWV since 1953. And we had many politicians at post-194, they would come, McCain, they would come and tell us what they're going to do for veterans. This is the whole purpose. Number one, publicity. People might come to hear Joe and what the other person might say about veterans' benefits. Political?
Yes.
Political.
It's borderline.
Well,
Gray
actually,
area.
I would rather do it
It's borderline.
and have somebody, where's the post advocate? Well, I mean, the department advocate. Or,
Jesse isn't here.
huh?
Jesse isn't.
The judge advocate is not
Judge
here
advocate.
today.
What do you say? Where are you?
He's at home.
Huh?
He's
The
at
judge,
home
Jesse
somewhere.
Gersten is the judge advocate.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm judge advocate for my post. 194. And I think if we do it, then we get put down by national,
Jerry,
so what?
Jerry, technically it is political, but if you keep it on veterans issues, then it's not.
Keep what?
If you keep it on veterans
Exactly, that's
issues,
what I'm
it's not
saying.
political.
Joe.
If it's a political thing.
Thank you, Lou. Just a
Is there a
minute.
candidate running?
Just a
against
minute.
you? You have to have them all.
I have less time than you have.
You'd have to have Democrats,
Excuse
Republicans,
me.
Independents, and
Okay, Joe, whatever you want to say about him, he was convicted, beautiful. He was on CNN and they tried to needle him. He was on Fox and tried to needle him. Anyway, the bottom line is, excuse me, Joe is a veteran. Joe came to talk at Outpost 194. He was there. He was running for office, but he was there. He told us. I'm sorry.
I was there too.
What?
I was there too when he came and spoke with us.
He
And
spoke.
we said, we are not gonna be, this is not a political time, and he kept it off, but it was nothing like what's going on now.
Hold on.
Nothing like what's going on.
Hold on, I agree with you, but he came and spoke, and he told us about how the sheriff's department operates, which is informative. And that's what we wanted. We want information about these candidates. But if we keep it to veterans issues, what's wrong with that?
well, we'd have to, first of all,
Let me say a couple things about this. First, he's not the only candidate running. So this is something we have to wait till after the primary.
No,
So
no,
we-
no, you're missing my point. We're gonna have a debate.
Oh, you didn't want a debate between a Democrat and a Republican?
No,
No.
two Republicans.
A debate between Joe and whoever's running against him on the. And I, as a judge advocate, I say we, as part of my post, as you say, not the department, we do it, and if national, it's great publicity, you'll get a lot of people. You might get some Jewish war veterans, that's the first name of our organization, Jewish war veterans. So if we have it here, or Chabad, any place you want to make it, if you don't want to make it, tell me. What?
first of all, when we had him last time,
Lou, stand up.
when we had Joe last time, it was 194.
Yeah, I can't hear you, Lou, come over here.
No, it's not a question of being controversial. When he was here last time at the 194, even though he explained the veterans programs in the jails that they have for the vets, that's good. But he did not draw anybody from the outside. So I think it's a fruitless thing to do, even if it's a debate with all the candidates at this point. We have other venues that we could really use and be more constructive with. Yes.
I'm sorry, I have to get going. There was just one other thing I wanted to bring up.
I see.
Just
I see.
outside of this for a second.
Please do it.
Okay, I did get in touch from the last department meeting as far as the idea of having a regular column put in the news.
Yeah, so very much
And
today.
and the Jewish News was not interested. They pretty much blew off the idea. However, Jewish Life magazine is considering it. So I just wanted to let you know, and that would be what we're talking about and suggesting is having since this comes out once a month, having a column a regular column in this, where there's a small thing as far as Jewish war veterans and what's going on in general, and then two bios of people, one a current Jewish war veteran here in Arizona, and the other a bio on someone who's one of our fallen heroes, someone who's active duty, someone who, this type of thing, and have that be in it. So they're considering it, and they're considering it also for their other company that they do in Oregon with the same kind of thing. So I'll let you know as more as I hear about something, but it wouldn't be just our post, it would be for veterans here. So we would definitely want to have suggestions of bios of people, because I got to tell you, I've been so amazed since I joined, as far as the stories that like 99.5% of you have, and they're amazing, and amazing personalities, and amazing, interesting personalities, and stuff that you all have done. And so I think that people need to hear the relevance of that. The next generation needs to hear the relevance of that, because then they're going to feel a token thing for.
Okay, I just want to mention one other thing that I think you brought it up. You get ask somebody to join and they say, what are you going to do for me, right? Well, what do you guys do throughout the year? We don't ever heard anything. Besides the department, my post 194, we made 2 Hanukkah parties in December, naturally. And we participated in the annual Veterans Day Parade, Phoenix. There's parades all over when we go to Phoenix, of course. So if you have any questions, if you don't want to do it, if you want to take a vote or whatever, Mike, I'm turning it back over to you. Post 194.
Come on, Mike. Thank you, Jerry. A suggestion has been brought up that we sponsor a debate between the candidates running for state senator, Jeff Lake's seat, as I understand.
For U.S.
Federal, U.S.
Yes, Jeff Lake's seat in the United States Senate. I think this is a political issue that we should not be involved with, but it was a proposal from the floor. Is there a second for this motion? There's not a second, so the suggestion is table. Thank you very much.
Moving on.
Pardon?
Moving on.
Uh,
I got a question for everybody. How many people are going to the SOS dinner this Friday night?
We're going Friday night.
Smiles on seniors.
Friday night senior dinner.
What I would like, I got from Mike a bunch of
I'll pick you up.
Wednesday also.
applications. Since it's held before Shabbos, sundown, and it's a lot, so you don't write or anything, carry paper in and out. Help me pass these out. I'm gonna make some more copies. Maybe we'll pull somebody. Maybe we won't.
Very, very good idea.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Can't hurt.
Yeah. Also, bring your family members in, sons, daughters, grandchildren, as associates. Because if they happen to go into ROTC at college, or into any of the Navy programs or the Marine candidate school programs, when they go into service, they automatically become a full member of JWV. They're not associates anymore, but they don't pay a membership per annum membership. This is important to you and to them for our future. But it gets them involved in the post, gets them involved in participating in the community, which is going to help them later on in life. You know, there's all sorts of things you can do that are little things that mean great things in the future. That's about it for right now. I'll think of some more.
Is there any other new business?
Yes.
Yes.
This is a suggestion to the department commander that he appoints members from each post to a committee to look into publicity for the entire department and for innovations of what we can do to get more membership. I think
Nelson,
this has to
thank
be
you
a post.
very much. You just
Total.
reminded me of something very important. We having problems filling department officers. We currently do not have a senior vice commander. We do not, next year we will not have a quartermaster, nor we have senior vice commander, nor do we have an adjutant. There are three very important positions that I don't want to fill as a commander. I'm asking Lou Kelter and Mike Halpern to be on the nomination committee to try to find people for this positions. You two know how to contact each other, and I will be in contact with you. Before we close, we have to talk about our next meeting. I have 2 dates proposed. The second Sunday in April, which is April 8th, that's after Passover, or June 10th, which is before Father's Day.
Question.
Yes.
According to the Constitution, which was changed, it was changed to 3 meetings a year instead of 4.
Correct.
Are we going to go back to 4 meetings?
No, this April meeting would be the elections meeting.
April what?
Sunday, April 8th.
Location?
It would be here. Post 210 is the host.
The last meeting is called a convention.
Yes. Yes, Joel.
Point of information, since that is the last day of Pesach is on Friday, and I know if I came, my wife would have my head because we'd be in the middle of switching dishes back from Pesach to Chumetz. And I don't know if it affects anybody else, but that could be a very difficult weekend.
It would affect Rochelle, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it would definitely affect me.
Yes.
I want to compromise a date that because we went to 3 times a year, the department convention is in August.
Correct.
I am not saying get close to it, but I'm saying either May or June would be a better time for the meeting.
We were trying to think of a week in May. The second week in May is Mother's Day, so we never have it on that weekend. That's why we said June 10th would be the next acceptable weekend. We thought about the 4th Sunday in May. That's Memorial Day weekend. We can't do it that weekend.
June, what was the June?
June 10th.
That's a good day.
Yeah, good day.
Everyone in favor of June 10th, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Good. June 10th is going to be our next meeting.
What time?
This is the place, this is the time. So June 10th, 10 o'clock, 9:30, Bagels and Rocks. Post 210 is the host. And I will get this information out to all the posts, and I will have Stephen send it to you, Nelson.
On new business,
Yes.
one real quick thing. There was mention about biographies. I have asked and asked and asked for my post. For a biography, we'll put it in for you. All the members of the Post, what I will do, if you send me a biography, you as an individual, and you stipulate that you request to put it on the internet, I will put that under the news heading.
Thank you.
Oh,
With a picture.
Oh, nice.
I want a picture.
under new business,
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we donate $200 to Mary Ellen's place.
Mary Ellen, please.
Yes,
Yeah,
From the department?
from the department.
yes,
Do I hear a second for that motion?
I second it.
Joel seconds. All in favor of donating $200 from the department to Mary Ellen? No, it doesn't go to Mary Ellen, it goes to Veterans First.
Veterans First.
With the notation. you
With the
want it
donation,
directed,
the
that's all.
notations.
Yeah, make it-
Everyone
make
say,
it-
in favor, say aye.
Wait.